SoonerNation Fantasy League. Welcome to the Week 1 recap show of the 2023 season. Your co-host, Jason Smith here, missing the real host of the show, Aaron Copeland. Wouldn't we want to hear about his thoughts about his victory this week against Chris? We'll get to that in just a moment. My hopes and dreams for this YouTube show / podcast have as high as they were, have fallen sharply because it is well past midnight on Wednesday night. The Thursday night football game's just here in a few hours, and we have yet to have a show that I'm happy with. This is take about 24. So we're doing our best in my kitchen, at my kitchen table, going to run through the week that was, look at the week ahead, get this posted to YouTube so you guys can have something to do as you wait for that Thursday night football game versus Minnesota and Philadelphia. I have made plenty of mistakes. It's been a little bit more difficult to try to go on this alone. Can't wait to have Aaron back next week. So let's take a look at the week that was, starting with the game of the week, which was Patrick Mahomes versus Jared Goff on Thursday Night Football, the Detroit-Kansas City game. And you have Patrick Mahomes going against Tua Tagovailoa, scored 60 points for Josh. Oh, man, I wonder how much Josh had to give up for him. Probably a bunch of draft picks, and then also most of his starters. All of his starters are still there. I'm not sure how this happened, but one of the best teams in the league just got better, adding Tua, and Tua scoring 60 points. Surely he wouldn't have outscored entire teams with that, but we'll see as we continue to go through some of these games in the games to come. Not worried about Jeff, but congrats to Josh on a big win, a convincing win. But I'm not too worried about the Rhinos over there. I'm not sure about Najee Harris, but I think I did see that Jeff made a trade to secure his backup this week. So not worried about either of these teams, but I'm really worried for the league about how good Josh might be. Let's take a look at game 2. We had an interesting game, and I was just mesmerized on Monday night with that Jets game. This really was the game of defenses. As you can see, my goodness gracious, look how many points were scored between these two defenses. And Hurts did not look great in his game, yet Jay was still able to pull out the victory with T. Higgins with a big 0.00 there because of the 4 touchdowns, and the Cowboys holding the Giants to 0 points. But my goodness, with the special teams here, the Buffalo kicker and the Jets defense for John on Monday night, a walk-off overtime punt return touchdown just left John a couple of points shy of a victory. That would have been a legendary moment, I think, in league history for week 1. Congrats to Jay on the win, and best of luck next week for John, whether he starts Fields or the next quarterback up in his stable. Recapping the Karate Kids win over the Dude Abides. Quick win. The Karate Kid looked okay, even with Kelsey out and Cooper on the IR. Tough start to the season. And Walker didn't look great because, man, Seattle looked bad against the Rams. This team over here may have gotten old fast, may not have as cocky of a podcast / YouTube host this year. We'll see. But that team doesn't look as good as it has in the years past. Of course, they took care of Deshaun Watson, and everyone's going to be rooting against him all year. But just a handful of points, as you can see, only 2 players surpassing 10 points for the Dude Abides. Hopefully he can get Benji on his team in the future. As we turn to the next game, you've got an interesting game here with the Minnesota Purple People Eaters, Chad Long, Rowdy Rompers, romping over Josh Allen and Saquon Barkley. This team of elite talent just didn't score a lot of points. We'll see how Shane comes back as we look forward to the week ahead in the preview section of this show. But Josh Allen with 4 turnovers on Monday night just looked awful. And then, of course, with Dallas having 2 quick defensive or special team touchdowns, and just the Giants doing nothing in the rain. Saquon just couldn't get anything really going. So I'm not too worried about the Sweat Sox. I think they're going to bounce back, but congrats to Josh. Congrats to Chad on the win. Justin Jefferson with 150 yards receiving. That guy is amazing. Looking at this game, man, this was the biggest blowout of the week. Brandon's, what he calls his big 4, Lawrence with 35. McCaffrey looked amazing with 23. Aaron Jones having 25. Tyreek Hill scoring over 33 points and looking like the most dynamic player in football. The Tua to Tyreek connection was just incredible. Brandon has will replace Sky Moore there in his lineup this week, but my goodness, this team looks really, really strong. And if Trevor Lawrence is it, that may be a contending team in the week that comes. John doesn't watch the show because he doesn't think the way we treat him on the show as a team that's kind of trying to look for Caleb Williams is very nice. So he's not watching, but he scored 70 points. And I think he should be encouraged because, man, did Bijan look special. And John was great at the draft, locking up Tyler Algiero, who also had scored 2 touchdowns. We'll see if he works with that on his bench in the weeks to come. But looks like he's got a special player in Bijan for the days to come. And this is Mahoney and Cobra. Sorry, this must be an early screenshot that this couldn't possibly be ended 50-40. So may have to make a correction there. No, that looks like all the games are final. And amazingly, as we have been sitting with this win or loss or tragedy of a game that happened this last Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I have been looking through the annals of history, and over 27 years, no one has scored 51 points, gotten a win, and had all their players play the game and not be hurt. Just an incredible result of this game, with the Cobras sitting with 1-0, only scoring 51 points, of course, being outscored by Tua all by himself. Amazingly, Joe Burrow was benched in the fourth quarter because they were down 24-3, and Dak Prescott was benched in the fourth quarter and had Cooper Rush come in because he was ahead by 40-0, and both quarterbacks failed to score 15 points. What a tale of 2 different quarterbacks. An amazing, amazing result. You can see that the quarterbacks really stand out in this game, but also the goose eggs there from London and Goddard. My goodness. This is one of the more memorable games, I think, in league history. I can't wait to remember this in years to come. We'll see how the Cobras do, and if they have to limp into the playoffs, and if they'll need this extra win against Mahoney. Somehow Aaron's not the commissioner, yet still found a way to give himself a schedule win week 1. Incredible work by the former commish. He obviously was off the cruise ship and found this local Senior Frogs probably to grab a cold one, and was able to log onto the message board, pick up a free agent, and share with us that promises made, promises were kept, being the Cobra way. And then Josh coming back with loving the flex with the 51-point total. As you can see here are the top 10 teams who scored the most points this week. You can see we've got Brandon, Josh, Jeff, Chad, Jason, Jay, John, Jeremy, Shane, and John. And so if you were one of these 10 teams, congratulations on what would have been a win against either of the teams who don't make the top 10 list. That, of course, is Aaron and Chris. Sorry for the teams on this list that took a loss when you could have had the schedule win versus either Chris or Aaron. Congratulations again to Aaron on starting 1-0. The league's always more fun when Aaron wins, and it makes everyone sad. So we wanted to just cover a few more things before we go to the preview show, as we look at the results of the best ball league put together by Josh Weiss and drafted for us over the 3 months of summer. The high point total was, of course, Smitty with Tua Tagovailoa passing to Tyreek Hill. Man, was that fun for the best ball league for me. You can also see here that Jay and I did our very best to pick every game and only went 6-10. Glad we were not in Vegas. And congrats to Josh, Brandon, John, and Jeremy for going 9-7 and leading the league in the picks contest. As for the Survivor, we had 6 teams move on to week 2, picking Baltimore and Washington, and the rest of the teams league members did not participate in the Survivor contest. Looking forward to the rest of the season there to see how we fare in the weeks to come. Here is the recap for all of the information that you might ever need for the waiver wire pickups. Was going to go through this. I've done it before on one of the previous takes that I did not like. So I don't think you need to know. There was no huge overbidding by anybody, more than about $10 to $12 to $15. And we've already got some people who replaced these players in their starting lineups, which we're going to get to this upcoming week. And now we come to the 5 games that we'll have, and then the game of the week to close out this episode. We have 0-1 Mahoney versus 0-1 Jeff Logan. Jeff Logan with Patrick Mahomes. He is not going to go 0-2. So congrats to Jeff on the win. I'm not even sure why we're going to play this game. We have Justice Hill in the starting lineup there for Chris. And But I just think that the blue chippers on Jeff's team is going to lead him to victory to get back to 500. I'm going to be taking Jeff, and so because he's not here, Aaron's going to be rooting and taking in the picks contest Mahoney. We've got Brandon versus Carr. Carr did pick up a kicker, so we need to be able to fill in that slot. I don't trust these point spreads because it never makes quite much sense to me. Sometimes they have you're supposed to win by 18, but only have a 51% chance of winning. That doesn't make sense. But again, you've got some significant blue chippers here. I think Brandon goes to 2-0. He's got those 4 players at the top of his lineup, followed up by a new starter for him and Kendrick Bourne. He's also going with a different tight end this week. So we'll see how Brandon does, but I'm never going to root for Deshaun Watson. And I just don't see the same amount of firepower out of Carr. So I think that Brandon's going to get a victory this week and go to 2-0, sending Jeremy Carr to 0-2. Let's continue with this game. We've got 2 pastors who office down the hall from one another, the Pharisees versus the Karate Kid. Again, I'm not worried about Kelsey. I'm not even sure he's going to play on Sunday. If he does, that'd be great, but I'm not sure how healthy he's going to be. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. And I'm a little worried about even Kenneth Walker. I can't believe I'm starting Brandon Cooks. Don't have the confidence in my team as I've had in the last few years. May have gotten old fast, but still love Justin Herbert and Tony Pollard, but Pollard's going to get that tough Jets defense. I still am confident I'm going to take myself in a victory over John, and I just don't think that John has the players right now to give a victory. It might be a few weeks until the Pharisees win. So again, he's not watching this, so he can't feel bad. Next game up, we've got these 2 0-1 teams. Then we've got John versus Shane, Mendenhall versus Cowherd, and looks like Mendenhall is going to be starting Jordan Love rather than the running quarterback out of Chicago. Forgot his name. I'm never going to forget the name of Tua Tagovailoa, but we've got him starting Gibbs this week again. And he's got the Jets versus Dallas. I don't think that the Jets are going to score as many points versus Dallas as they did this last week. And this is although it's not the game of the week, it's a very intriguing game because we've got does Josh Allen bounce back? And I do think that Saquon's going to bounce back this week. He gets to go to Arizona. There's too many blue chippers on that team. I think Shane's going to go to 500, sending the Hellhounds to 0-1. I'm going to be taking Shane, and I believe that means Aaron's going to be rooting for Mendenhall. And speaking of Aaron, another super intriguing game here. Does Joe Burrow bounce back? How does the Jets' run game work if they don't really have a quarterback? Looks like we've got a rookie here getting a start as wide receiver for the Cobras. And he picked up the Giants when he was at that Senior Frogs, playing against Arizona, who looks like one of the worst teams in the league. We'll see how he fares this week, but I'll be taking Josh. I just think that look at just up and down the roster, you've got an elite talent. And I know people believe in New England and the defense and the coaching that perhaps that they're going to try to make confuse Tua at the line or take away Tyreek Hill. I just don't think unless only thing that can stop Tua is a concussion. And so but I think that he's going to be rolling through the league until he no longer can play. So going to be taking Josh, and Aaron will be rooting for himself this week. And now we have the last game of the week, the game of the week, the Sooner Nation game of the week, brought to you by Crystal's Pizza and Spaghetti off of Northwest Expressway in Rockwell. Of course, one of your favorite spots to celebrate after a T-ball game, perhaps after a flag football game. Crystal's Pizza, I want to say thank you for sponsoring this segment and for all the memories. So this is going to be an incredible game. We've got Jay versus Chad, 2 1-0 teams. And again, the quarterbacks are featured on Thursday Night Football. You've got Jalen Hurts from the Philadelphia Eagles playing Kirk Cousins of the Minnesota Vikings. And you've got, of course, Chad's whole team looks like going on Thursday night. And then you've got just Jay having a Monday night game, couple players on Thursday, some noon games and afternoon games. On Sunday, it's just a great lineup for Jay to have 5 wonderful days of football and Chad to sweat it. There's great players on both sides of these games. It's going to see, can T. Higgins bounce back? Can he get a catch? How does Justin Jefferson look against one of the, I hope, best defenses in the league? You got a rookie tight end starting for Chad. And then I just think this is the game of the week. I'm going to be taking Jay to go 2-0, sending the Rompers to 500. But man, is it going to be a great game, and look for Aaron to be rooting for Chad and seeing how that game develops. This has been your week 1 recap show, week 2 preview show of the Sooner Nation Fantasy Football League YouTube show. Thanks for watching. I think we're going to just stick with this take, even though it has not been as clean as I would like. I sure do miss the host of this show, and hope that he comes back safe and returns to us COVID-free, ready to get on the Zoom for record our show for next week. And I want to hear all about his trip, all about his feelings for week 1, and of course, how he feels about his loss in week 2. Thanks for watching, League, and worst of luck this weekend. Talk to you soon, and peace out.